Hey everyone, Sanjay here. Welcome to Contriver podcast, and I have named this particular playlist as Meant O San. What does that really mean in the sense? I'm gonna talk about different people who have achieved great things in this entire world. So, who are my virtual mentors? I 100% believe that we can learn some or the other thing from everyone in this entire world. So that is going to be the main motive of this particular playlist. And the first mentor in our playlist is world's richest man from 2017, and his net worth in 2018-2019 was 150 billion, and he owns this world's richest company, one of the world's richest company, and his company's market cap is $1 trillion. And he also worked in McDonald's when he was 16, and he started his startup in a garage like this, and right now his company is like this. The headquarters, it's in Washington, and yeah, you have guessed it right. We are gonna talk about Jeff Bezos, the world's richest man, and founder of Amazon, founder and CEO of Amazon. And let's get started. Let's discuss a lot about this e-commerce corporate giant guy.
If you're going to do anything new or innovative, you have to be willing to be misunderstood. And if you can't tolerate that, then for God's sake, don't do anything new or innovative. None of this is easy. All of it is hard. But I want to inspire you. And so think about this. Big things start small.
This episode is gonna be a long one. I have just mentioned the timestamps over the screen, as well as it will be in the description. You can just fast forward to the sector that you really need. And the first sector is the start. Jeff Bezos was born in 12th of Jan 1968 in Albuquerque, and that is in New Mexico. And later he just moved on to Houston. So it's in Texas, and later he was brought up and raised in Miami. And being a young person, during his high school, he used to spend his summer vacations in his grandparents' home. And Jeff Bezos learned how to be resourceful at a young age. That is within 16, when he was studying at the age of 6, he learned how to be resourceful. Rather than me explaining me about how to be resourceful in your life, here is Jeff Bezos, the man himself, explaining you how to be so resourceful.
My grandfather was so resourceful, and that he made his own veterinary needles. He would take a little piece of wire and pound it flat with like a oxyacetylene torch, and then drill a little hole through it, and then we did all of our own veterinary work. Some of the cattle even survived, and so we had great fun out there. We built barns and welded things, and he bought a D6 Caterpillar bulldozer used. It was like 1955 model year for $5,000. It was completely broken. The gears were stripped. And then we spent, a whole summer repairing that. And the first thing we had to do to repair it was build a crane to take the gears out of the transmission. And so, what I learned from watching him was just how resourceful he was. He didn't ever call a repairman. He figured it out. And I do think that that's one of the things that, super lucky for me to grow up in that environment where you got to see resourcefulness in action. So my grandfather, giant role model for me.
As Bezos mentioned that his grandfather was his greatest role model and his greatest mentor. And after that, at the age of 16, Bezos started working in McDonald's when he was just studying in high school. And what really happened was he learned plenty of things about timing, how important timing is. If you just bake your eggs for 20 seconds extra, that wouldn't be eatable, that wouldn't be edible. So Bezos learned a lot about that particular thing when he was working in a McDonald's. And the flow of the food, the source, the system of that particular entire McDonald's There's a system called a speedy system in McDonald's. I'll just explain you that when I'm talking about Raymond Kroc. Raymond Kroc is the founder of McDonald's. I'll get back to that in my further videos. And yeah, so Bezos learned a lot about system. A system is the main thing that makes your business. It's not the product. Anyone can make a better burger than McDonald's, but the system that McDonald's really had to sell that burger, that system. So a system is very important in an entire company. How do you frame that system? That is what Bezos learned. And the automation, the flow of work and the automation, the process, he learned a lot about those things, even though he was just flipping burgers as a cook in McDonald's. And then when Jeff Bezos was graduating from Princeton University, he just delivered a graduation speech saying that he wanted to preserve this earth. So he wanted to turn this entire earth as a huge national park. I mean, so I just wanted to mention another thing. Bezos just completed his graduation in 1988, and he was electrical and computer science engineer. That is his bachelor's and bachelor of science. So those people who are so proud to be electrical engineer and computer science engineers, the world's richest man is one among you. And in his graduation speech, he just emphasized a lot about preserving earth. So Bezos wants to say about preserving earth. I have a video for you guys. Make sure you guys look at it.
You know, for me, I have been interested in rockets, space travel, propulsion, since I was a 5-year-old boy. And I have spent a tremendous amount of time thinking about it. So it's not like I really have a choice to follow this passion. It has captured me. But I think it's very important that we go out into space as a civilization. We've got all our eggs in one basket, and we need a plan B. You know, if we had a civilization elsewhere on another planet, somewhere in the solar system, then when Earth gets destroyed, humanity will still be fine. I find this particular argument incredibly unmotivating. We have now sent robotic probes to every planet in this solar system. Believe me, this is the best one. It is not close. My friends who want to move to Mars, I say, I have an idea for you. Why don't you first, for a year, move to the top of Mount Everest? Because the top of Mount Everest is a garden paradise compared to Mars. And so we need to protect it. Now, and I'm not even talking about protecting it from asteroids or nuclear holocaust or anything, although all those things are probably important and valid. But we don't need to worry about that because we have something more certain that is a problem. And that is if you take current baseline energy usage on Earth today, global energy usage, and compound that at just 3% a year, then in just a few hundred years, you're going to have to cover the entire surface of the Earth in solar cells.
And Bezos just got graduated, he got plenty of job opportunities. And since it's a Princeton University, of course, you get lots of job opportunities too. And he got job opportunities from Intel, Bell Labs, and lots of Anderson Company, Consulting, all that, all top companies. But he just rejected all that. He just turned all that down. But he knew that he wanted to work in a startup. Why a startup? Why not a great company like Intel? In the sense, it is well known. I mean, there's an idea that you need to understand. If you work in a startup, you would be a part of a bigger system. If you are working in a big company, you would just be a tiny drop in an entire ocean. Jeff Bezos knew that, and that is the reason he just started working for a startup, and the startup name is Fittle. So it's a networking company, and he just worked over there, and Bezos learned plenty of things in Fittle. And to be true, in one of his interview, he just said that he learned how to how to not to run a startup when he was working in Fittle. And once he's done with that particular company, after some 6 to 8 months, Jeff Bezos just started working in a banking industry, and the Bankers Trust. The banking industry name is Bankers Trust, and he just worked somewhere around 3 years over there, and then he moved on to D.E. Shaw. Bezos just started working in D.E. Shaw. He 100% knew that information is the only thing that would revolutionize the entire world. Who has information in 21st century? Who owns in most information? Those people, I mean, the company that owns most information is the company that would rule the entire world. That is what he learned in D.E. Shaw, and in Wall Street he learns lots of investment, selling, all that. And about the hedge funds, he just learned many things, and in his young age, at the age of 30, Bezos became the senior vice president in 1994, and soon after, when he became senior vice president, I mean, he was the fourth vice president in D.E. Shaw, and after that he just felt like he wanna leave that company and he wanna start Amazon. And that is when his journey started, his journey as an entrepreneur. That is when it started. He and his wife Mackenzie, they started a company called as Amazon. The first break as Amazon, and July 5th 1994 he just started Amazon. And soon after he started Amazon in his garage in 1994, his parents just invested $300,000 in Amazon. And he also had many investors, and he strongly warned his investors, saying that there won't be any profits for 5 complete years. In fact, in the business plan in which Jeff Bezos wrote that there won't be any profit that I'm gonna give to the investors for complete 5 years. But those investors just believed Jeff Bezos, and in fact he also warned the investors, saying that there is 70% chance that this company could go completely bankrupt. Why? Is because the World Wide Web, internet wasn't that famous in 1994, and it was completely crazy. Many people would, many of his friends, Jeff Bezos' friends, would just warn him, saying that why would a person buy a book in over the internet? Is it really possible? Yeah, and Bezos replied that yeah, people would buy books in internet. Why? Is because books on internet is available. At the same time, if I own the biggest store in this entire world, people would definitely own a book from my particular store. That is what Bezos said to his friends. And coming back to the investors, Jeff Bezos has treated his investors so well, and he was so transparent with his investors and his venture capitalists, saying that until 5 years, if someone would have told me that until 5 years I won't even give you any profit, I would have never invested in his particular company back then in 1994. And here's something Bezos has to say about the investors.
This is certainly what your investors who've been with you for a long time fervently believe, and you ask them, like, why doesn't it bother you the way it bothers some people that the company's not profitable and has an infinite PE and all
Look,
this
Warren Buffett has this great quote. He says, you can hold a rock concert, and that's okay, and you can hold a ballet, and that's okay. Just don't hold a rock concert and advertise it as a ballet. Investors come in all shapes and sizes. They have different investment horizons, different approaches, different beliefs about what the right kind of portfolio looks like. And so it's not one, people use Wall Street as a shorthand, but there isn't one type of investor. They come in all shapes and sizes. And you have to be super clear about what kind of company you're trying to build, what your approach is. We laid that out in our 1997 annual shareholder letter. We said we were going to take big bets. We said they were going to fail. We said some of them hopefully were going to work. We said we were going to invest for the long term, that we were going to try to take advantage of market opportunities as they arose. And there's a certain kind of investor who is aligned with that approach. And so, again, you can hold the ballet or the rock concert, and both can work. Just be clear about which one you are, and then people can self-select.
soon after 4 years, Bezos just started expanding Amazon. He included videos, music, and consumer goods. He would sell anything in Amazon, and at the same time, he also made sure that he used to talk to his investors 6 months once. And how is this really possible? How can a person expand a company so well, and how can he do that? And how can he do that in the sense that is where leadership come into picture. So how was Jeff Bezos' leadership then? Let's talk about Jeff Bezos' leadership. To the leadership of Jeff Bezos, Bezos always insisted a lot and emphasized a lot on get big fast strategy. So that is what he would always tell his employees, his workers, and his administrators. He would speak a lot about market dominance. If there is someone who could buy any books from online, that should be Amazon. Always there should be no other choice for your consumers to get into the market and buy books from somewhere else, to buy book from some other website. That is what Jeff Bezos used to insist a lot. And he also never failed to address about the investors. He always wanted to meet the investors. That was somewhere around 6 times a year. He used to talk about his investors very curiously, and he used to meet them. And Bezos had this 2 pizzas rule. So what does that really mean? I'm gonna explain you. So instead of PowerPoints, Bezos used to advise his employees not to use PowerPoint presentation. He used to advise his employees to carry 8 pages of written document or printed document about that particular thing that they used to discuss on their meetings. So Jeff Bezos has got something to talk about the 2 pizzas rule.
God.
Still have the 2 pizza rule and no PowerPoints?
Oh yeah, the 2 pizza team. We try to create teams that are no larger than can be fed with 2 pizzas. We call that the 2 pizza team rule. No PowerPoints are used inside of Amazon. So every meeting, when we hire a new executive from the outside, this is the weirdest meeting culture you will ever encounter. And new executives have a little bit of, culture shock in their first Amazon meeting, because what we do is somebody for the meeting has prepared a 6-page memo, a narratively structured memo that is got, real sentences and topic sentences and verbs and nouns, not just bullet points. And it lays out and supposed to create the context for what will then be a good discussion. So, and then we read those memos silently in the meeting. So it's like a study hall. And we do that, everybody sits around the table, and we read silently for usually about half an hour, however long it takes us to read the document. And then we discuss it. And it's so much better than the typical PowerPoint presentation for so many reasons. I could talk about this for all of our time.
Nobody's eating the pizza at that point because we're sitting around.
No pizza usually at that point.
One author said that takes you back to River Oaks Elementary School in Houston, where they started with a silent reading exercise.
I never made that connection, but you never know where things come from. I did have a great experience there. So, but I definitely recommend the memo over the PowerPoint. And the reason we read them in the room, by the way, is because just like, high school kids, executives will bluff their way through the meeting as if they've read the memo. Because we're busy, and so you got to actually carve out the time for the memo to get read. And that's what the first half hour of the meeting is for. And then everybody's actually read the memo. They're not just pretending to have read the memo.
This is always remembered that doing something innovative, if you do that, people would definitely misunderstand you. And if you are trying to do something different, people should misunderstand you. That is the norm, that if someone is just misunderstanding you, that means you are trying something innovative. That is what Jeff Bezos says, and I have a video for you.
You were quoted as saying, "I believe you have to be willing to be misunderstood if you're going to innovate." So how are you misunderstood?
If you're going to do anything new or innovative, you have to be willing to be misunderstood. And if you can't tolerate that, then for God's sake, don't do anything new or innovative. Every important thing we've done has been misunderstood, often by well-meaning, sincere critics, sometimes, of course, by self-interested, insincere critics.
Bezos always insisted that customer is the number one priority. Whatever you do in Amazon, it is just for the customer. And he believed that you should help a customer to make better choice for buying a product.
1,000 years ago, we started this thing called customer reviews, and we let customers review books. We only sold books at that time, and customers could come in and rate a book between 1 and 5 stars, and they could write a text-based review. You guys are very familiar with this. It's now a very normal thing. But back then, this was crazy, and the publishers, the book publishers, did not like this because, of course, not all the reviews are positive. And I got a letter from one publisher that said, I have a good idea for you. Why don't you just publish the positive customer reviews? And I thought about this, and the argument he was making to me is that our sales would go up if we just published the positive customer reviews. And I thought about this, I thought, I don't actually believe that, because I don't think we make money when we sell something. We make money when we help someone make a purchase decision. And it's just a slightly different way of looking at it, because people are, part of what they're paying us for is helping them make a purchase decision. And if you think about it that way, then you want the negative reviews too. And of course, it has been extremely helpful for people to have negative customer reviews. And by the way, it's come full circle now, where the product manufacturers use the customer reviews to improve the next generation of the product.
Being a great leader, when Bezos used to talk about passion, he used to believe that you don't choose your passion chooses you. And that is one of the greatest thing that I have heard from Jeff Bezos, and I'll link that video.
So first of all, you don't choose your passions choose you. And all of us are gifted with certain passions, and the people who are lucky are the ones who get to follow those things. And I always advise our young employees, or meet with interns and so on, you can have, and my kids too, you can have a job, or you can have a career, or you can have a calling. And if you can somehow figure out how to have a calling, you have hit the jackpot, because that's the big deal. And most people don't ever get there. You know, you're very lucky if you have a career. A lot of people end up with a job.
And how did Amazon get really big? It is because they used to concentrate a lot on competitors. If you want to compete with your competitors, try to choose the weakest one. That is what Jeff Bezos used. And he used to target the weakest one, saying that if you have 10 competitors, start with the 7th competitor. And when you just defeat the 7th competitor, you'll be the 7th person. And then let's move on to the 6, 5, 4, 3, and as soon as you get into the 3rd position or the 4th position, the first person or the second person would know you, and they would feel like they would just get frightened just because you are coming. So that was the greatest strategy in business that Jeff Bezos used. And he used to give an example about a cheetah and a gazelle bear. So this is some rumor that always attack the weakest person, always attack the weakest animal. So the cheetah would never chase an animal. It would just harm that gazelle and wait until that gazelle cannot move, and then the cheetah would go attack that and eat that particular animal. So it would be so easy when you weaken many people in your business and attack them. So this sounds like a negative thing, but at the same time, when you are in business, it's not something that you need to disagree something completely. It's not really that. I feel like there are plenty of things that you can learn from negative people too. At the same time, when you are so concerned about your particular values, your particular culture, it is like you don't have to see the negative people as negative. If someone just murders someone, you need to understand the cause behind that particular thing. That is what I really understand. I'm not gonna tell you that murdering someone is the greatest thing that you can do. I'm not gonna tell you that murdering a person is something good. It's not really that, but you need to understand the cause behind that particular thing, and the person who murdered someone, he has to be punished, and that is how the world works. And the next thing that Bezos just started as Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime was started in 2005. It was the greatest innovation to rise Amazon sales, and what really happened was he promised anyone in and around USA, he used to deliver his product within 2 days. That is what Bezos promised, and he had an annual subscription for Amazon. That is somewhere around $79 per year. And people would jump on Amazon website just to subscribe to Amazon Prime and just to get their product with little effort. And that is one of the greatest innovation that Jeff Bezos really did. And coming to the workers, what he did was he wanted to use the recession. So now we are in a recession. At the same time, when in 2010 there was a dot-com bubble burst, so Jeff Bezos used that particular time as the smartest thing. So he got plenty of cheap laborers, and he used to hire them. In fact, Bezos just hired plenty of people, around 200,000 people, and he called that particular center as Amazon Fulfillment Center. So in Amazon Fulfillment Centers, he used to hire people with cheap price during 2010, when everyone was firing people from their IT sector, from their company. Bezos just used that particular opportunity for cheap labors, and that's the greatest move, being a leader in a big company. And after that, there were plenty of things that really happened, and Bezos was always interested in India. So since India has the greatest population, it's the second populated country in this entire world, that means you have many customers, many consumers in India, and that would be a great market. Bezos just tried to expand his company in China too, but Alibaba.com was really a big company back then in 2010. So that is why he concentrated a lot on India, and Bezos just launched Amazon in 2012 in India. And soon after that, within 6 years, he just made Amit Agarwal as vice president, global vice president in Amazon, and he is the head of India, and he also invested 5.5 billion in Indian Amazon market, so to expand Amazon in India. Today, if someone just asks you that is it really possible, do you buy a product in Flipkart or Amazon? I would definitely say Amazon. How is that really possible? In the sense, they just dominate every market, including the Netflix, the Amazon Prime, the delivery, Flipkart, and everything. You get your products from Reliance Fresh or Amazon Fresh, Big Basket or Amazon Fresh. People would definitely say Amazon Fresh. Why? Is because Amazon is a trusted brand today. How is that really happening? In the sense, Jeff Bezos even today has a personal email ID to get reviews from the customers. He doesn't reply every email, but still he checks email himself from the customer reviews. That is Jeff at Amazon.com. You can mail him directly, and he doesn't really reply to that particular mail, but he forward that particular email. The mail that you have, the complaints that you have, no matter wherever you are in this entire world, if you just mail to that particular email, he used to forward that to his top executives, and he used to personally read that particular mails. And that is what that's the greatest quality of a leader, to understand his customers. And even today there is a direct contact between his customer and his company CEO. So that is what Bezos did, and all that sounds like a great leader. But Jeff Bezos has been criticized for his aggressive leadership and his aggressive fall and the struggle. So let's look at the fall of Amazon and the struggle that Jeff Bezos really had in Amazon. Fall of Amazon. So Bezos just really started a web service. It is called as Amazon Web Service. You might have heard about AWS servers. So he just started that in 2002. And what really happened was he almost bankrupted his company just because of that one particular product. And what Bezos did was he fired somewhere around 17% of his employees to raise some funds and to reduce the expenditure in his company. So that was really aggressive, and that was really horrible situation for Amazon as well as Jeff Bezos. And he made profit for 5 years, but still he refused to pay to the investors. Soon after 5 years, he didn't even really make any profit in Amazon. After the 6th year, Amazon started making profit. But even after making enough profit from Amazon, he started investing it to the Amazon products. I mean, expanding Amazon really quick. And he just failed to repay the investors that the money that he really promised. And in fact, until 2005, he didn't even pay much to the investors, and the investors just really got pissed off, and they started screwing Jeff Bezos. They literally screwed Jeff Bezos. And the next thing that Bezos did was in 2010. Bezos just started fulfillment centers in and around USA. It was somewhere around 10 to 15 fulfillment centers, and there was a dot-com bubble. Everyone was chasing a low-paying job, and people didn't even have much job at that particular time, so that they wanted cheap jobs. At the same time, Bezos used this opportunity, and there were many complaints that Amazon is treating humans as robots. There won't be proper air conditioning at his particular office and his particular plant in the fulfillment centers. And there were many complaints that employees used to work overtime, and they used to work for low pay, and the targets that they really had, that is completely not possible to achieve. That is completely horrible, and they were really less paid until 2012. And there were lots of barriers for his employees. In fact, due to lots of heat, there was a pregnant lady who just got unconscious in when she was working in Amazon fulfillment centers. Amazon just started treating their employees, their workers so bad that they used to walk somewhere around 15 miles per day just to take goods from one place to another place and pack it and send it to the customers. So that is what really happened. I mean, in their fulfillment centers, the employees used to walk for 15 miles. How horrible does that really sound? And since they started Amazon Prime, they had plenty of third party travels and third-party courier companies. So what really happened, they just promised that in 2015, Amazon just promised that within 1 day delivery, they'll deliver any product in and around USA. And that led to somewhere around 13 kills and 60 injuries, 60 car crashes in by the Amazon drivers. So that was really a horrible situation for Amazon. And the next horrible situation, or the next fall for Amazon, was waiting in form of a camera. So the products that Amazon designed, it was called as Amazon Ring. So that product, there was lots of privacy issues in that particular product. Hackers used to hack that particular security camera they used to have in the customers. So they used to call the customers and they used to talk to the customers, and Amazon engineers just said that we are improving this product and it is not yet finalized, but it's in the market. That is the reason that hackers used to hack this particular product. After that, Amazon used to cancel plenty of book publishers in Amazon. If they used to buy a book from Hatchet publisher, that page would redirect to some other publisher. That is what really happened, and thousands of authors just got pissed off just because of Amazon. And after that, Jeff Bezos just owned Washington Post newspaper. So it's a capital newspaper in America, so in USA. So why did he purchase? He is a great e-commerce business titan, but he purchased an old newspaper company which is called as Washington Post. Why? Is because there are plenty of rumors that says that Jeff Bezos did this to avoid taxes, and he paid really less tax in his entire company, which is lower than 5%. So he was doing somewhere around $1 billion of business. He got $1 billion of revenue each year, but his taxes was below 5%. How did that happen? In the sense, he used to buy this Washington Post, and he used to invest some amount in that particular company, and he used to claim that that was completely lost, and all that really happened. In fact, he got a dispute between US President Donald Trump and there was a dispute between them just because of this Washington Post purchase. All that really happened. And when Amazon just wanted to set up a headquarters in New York, they didn't allow to set a headquarters in headquarters 2 in New York. They just had an headquarters in Washington DC, and they just wanted to set an other headquarters in New York, but New York didn't allow that. There was lots of strike, and there was lots of voice against Amazon. Why did that really happen? Because Amazon, even today, Amazon don't really have a union, that is employees union. So they don't really support their employees to have a union. They don't really support their employees to work with their co-worker and be so friendly with their co-worker. So that is what lots of newspapers and lots of media says about Amazon. And the greatest loss, the greatest fallback in Jeff Bezos' entire life was his $38 billion divorce. So he just divorced his wife, who was with him for past 22 years. So he just settled $38 billion in 2019. Even after settling down $38 billion, Jeff Bezos was the richest man in this entire world. So how fascinating is that? And this is about the fall of Amazon. Beyond Amazon, Jeff Bezos had plenty of things to do. So beyond Amazon, Bezos was the one of the first investors in Google when Google was going on IPO. So when Google was launched as a public company, Bezos just invested $25,000 in Google, and he just bought some million shares in Google, and it is worth somewhere around 4.2 billion in today's market. The shares that he purchased in 1998, in 2020 it is worth around $4.2 billion. So that was the greatest investment in Jeff Bezos' entire career. And the next thing that Bezos did was launching Amazon Web Server. So there are plenty of companies including Netflix, Nike, and you name it, they have it. Amazon Web Service, the AWS is one of the most trusted servers in the entire world. That is what they claim about. And AWS is also known as the best server for any companies that you can really name in this entire world. Blue Origin is a space research company owned by Jeff Bezos, and he wanted to expand his dreams that he had in his childhood to preserve Earth as a huge national park. So here's Jeff Bezos talking about the launch of Blue Moon. So he calls a space vehicle as Blue Moon, and his space research is something like humans could travel to the space and stay in moon.
This is me in high school, and I want to highlight this quote: "The Earth is finite, and if the world economy and population is to keep expanding, space is the only way to go." Jim Lovell, one of my real heroes, on Apollo 8, while he was circling around the moon, he did something amazing. He put his thumb out, and he realized with his thumb at arm's length, he could cover the whole Earth. Everything he'd ever known, he could cover with his thumb. And he said something amazing. The old saying, "I hope I go to heaven when I die." He said, I realized at that moment, you go to heaven when you're born. Earth is heaven. Carl Sagan, so poetic, on that blue dot, that's where everyone you know and everyone you ever heard of, and every human being who ever lived out their lives. A very small stage in a great cosmic arena. For all of human history, the Earth has felt big to us. And actually, in a really correct sense, it has been big. Humanity has been small. That's not true anymore. The Earth is no longer big. Humanity is big. Let me show you something. This is Blue Moon. It's time to go back to the moon, this time to stay. And if this generation builds the road to space, builds that infrastructure, we will get to see thousands of future entrepreneurs building a real space industry. And I want to inspire those future space entrepreneurs. I want you to think about this. This vision sounds very big, and it is. None of this is easy, all of it is hard, but I want to inspire you, and so think about this. Big things start small. Thank you.
So we have come to the end of this particular video. At the same time, you might really understand that he has got plenty of things. Who could be the role model of this particular person? Because his net worth is somewhere around $117 billion as of today. But he might have a role model. He should have a role model. He should have a mentor who might be his particular mentor. And here's Jeff Bezos talking about his mentors.
Who do you emulate?
What kind of role model?
Yeah, who do you look at?
Oh, a bunch of people. You know, I have been a Warren Buffett fan. In the business realm, I've been a Warren Buffett fan since my early 20s. I read the things he writes. So he's a very big fan. I think kind of CEOs today out there that I like, again, in the business realm. Jamie Dimon, I think. If there are a couple of CEOs that I think if I were a big shareholder in JP Morgan Chase, I would just show up every Monday morning with like pastries and coffee for Jamie, and I would be like, "So you happy? You good?" Because I think he's a terrific executive in a very complicated company. Same thing, Bob Iger at Disney, I think is a superb executive. So probably bring him pastries. So there are a lot of role models.
Healthy pastries.
Well, yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about that. That's right. Yeah. And then outside of that, I've had lots of role models throughout my life. Some of my teachers at River Oaks Elementary School that you mentioned. I had my parents who I talked about a little earlier.
The long story short, so Bezos might be the greatest person in the world. I mean, he's a great e-commerce titan, and he's the world's richest person as of now. And the company that he owns is a trillion-dollar company. He might be criticized, he might be hated by his employees for his aggressive leadership. All that really happened, but he is the person who revolutionized e-commerce. He is the person who has revolutionized the way that we people shop in online. So if you want to order something and if you want to at least check something, if you want to do window shopping, back then you used to drive 2 miles or 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers in the traffic, and just to check out one particular price of a shirt, or just to check out a price of a mobile phone. But today you have that in your fingertips in a device called as a smartphone. So how did that really happen? The man behind this particular vision, the man behind this particular entire idea was Jeff Bezos. He has the greatest contribution to revolutionize the internet, to revolutionize the entire world, to connect each other. So it's like you can order anything, you can order literally anything from USA, from China, from North America, from North Canada, all that. You can have that in your fingertips. You can just ship that from you can ship anything from anywhere in your in this entire world, and you can even publish books for free. How is that really possible? He is the man behind that, all that innovation. So you can criticize one person for anything, but at the same time there are plenty of things that you need to understand behind that person. So he had a strong vision, and he's unstoppable to be true as of now. So when I was just researching about Jeff Bezos, I come across with this great quote about Jeff Bezos. So he says about people. So I understand that people, I mean, human resource is the greatest resource that you really have. You can really have in your personal life, in your company, or in your entire life. So about people, Jeff Bezos has to say this one thing: life is too short to hang out with people who aren't resourceful. So try to hang out with a resourceful person, guys. Your network is your net worth. So that is what I used to say, and that is what Jeff Bezos used to convey. So about this particular entire great titan, the world's richest man, I hope this video was a bit clumsy. This is the first one that I am trying to do, so probably I could improve this. And until then, it's me Sanjay signing off from Contriver podcast, and meet you guys in my next episode, guys. And I'll be doing more and more videos. I'll be talking a lot about my mentors. It could be Indian mentors, it could be foreign mentors, it could be my virtual mentors, it could be my personal mentors. We can learn a lot about this particular people when we just try to discuss. And drop your thoughts in the comment section, guys. Bye bye, thank you, see you guys at the top. So since you just watched this entire episode until this particular point, I have a bonus clip coming just for you. And before that, I need to ask you three different questions about Bezos, and drop your thoughts in the comment section. The first question is, do you think just to earn loads of money, just to expand his particular company, how Jeff Bezos treats his employees? I mean, the aggressiveness that he has towards his employees, the leadership that Jeff Bezos has, is that really right? Just answer that particular question. And the second question is, do you think that Bezos would be the first person to earn $1 trillion, to have a net worth of $1 trillion? And the third question is, do you think that living Earth and living on somewhere on space and making a capsules for each person and turning this entire Earth as a big national park, is that really right? So drop your thoughts, guys. I'll be waiting, and here's the bonus clip that you have been waiting for.
You can hear him coming a mile away.
How about the laugh?
It's something I've always had. No, it's unique in the family. I embarrass them at movies.
The dean of .coms, Jeff Bezos, has billions of reasons to be laughing.
Your laugh is a beacon. They know you're coming.
That's right.
Just 6 years ago, a lot of people thought Jeff Bezos was crazy. Why would people want to buy books over the internet? Now you can buy anything over the web. Check out the 60,000-year-old bear skeleton that Bezos bought on Amazon's auction site.
Smile.
6 years ago, some people laughed at his idea. But look who's laughing now.
I can guarantee you wouldn't be able to do this with Lee Iacocca.